You ready? You ready?
In 2 seconds.
Nope. Oh, look, I saw you got a Facebook notification. Josh Martin is live.
Alright, we're good.
Is this one working?
Yeah. Oh, it should be. Let me check. Yeah, it's working. We got some bars dropping in the background. We got the music bumping. You hear it?
So we got a couple of quick, awesome announcements for people. Number one, we are constrained by time on this one.
Yeah, we can.
We can't go over like an hour. So if you're just tuning in, thank you. And this is going to be, I'll say, relatively short. Relative being the operative word in this instance.
I mean, we're still going to be here for an hour.
An hour. So we got to do that. Number two, we have a new sponsor of the podcast today. We have Exos. We turned Exos Physical Therapy and Sports Medicine, the new unofficial sponsor of the podcast. This was approved by Abigail.
Yes.
So I'm going to just roll her right under that bus. So Jim Doden is listening somewhere. I haven't seen Jim in a while. Did he fire himself?
No, he was in last night, but I guess he's taking a week off.
Banker's hours or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I probably shouldn't say that he's taking a week off on a live podcast that Exos could listen to.
That's okay.
Whatever.
It's cool.
So
thank you to Exos. Thank you to Killcliff for not sponsoring this as well. To Manila Folders.
Thank you to Amazon Basics for providing Manila Folders that I leave on the desk. This whole area is just a mess. We'll just put it to this.
All right, so let's get crack-a-lackin'.
Crack-a-lackin'. What do we got coming up? We got announcements, right? Current events.
Thanksgiving is tomorrow, depending upon when you're listening to this. So we're recording/filming this on Wednesday, November 25th.
Yeah.
Schedule for the gym, we've said it many times. We're closed Thursday, closed Friday, back to normal on Saturday.
Chances are, if you don't know it by now, you're going to find out the hard way.
Dude, I want to have the cameras rolling at like 5:15 to see someone jiggling the door tomorrow morning, getting all fired up. How mad would you be?
Would
if you were that person?
Oh, if I were that person, I would say I wouldn't be mad.
I'd be mad and then be like, oh, that's right, all the communication they put out. Yeah. Okay. So we got that going on. We'll circle back to that, but we have another announcement that is super important. I'll let you tackle this one. Twinkle in the Terrace.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
So Twinkle in the Terrace, I want to shout out Coach Emily because she kind of communicated with one of the organizers of this event and got it all together. But Twinkle in the Terrace is an event that we're partnering up with West Florida Foster Care Services for. And every year we try to do something that's going to benefit charity. We're always going to do something every year. Years past, we've done a toy drive, and you've taken them to the Children's Hospital, right?
Yes.
So this year, we are partnering with West Florida Foster Care Services and for this event, Twinkle in the Terrace. And basically what this is they have an Amazon wish list on their site. It's in our Instagram bio, and it's in our Facebook, our members only page. And then I'm sure at some point over the next 2 weeks that we're doing this, we will email it out.
We will.
But
100%.
We're just trying to benefit foster families that might be struggling a little bit during the holiday season. So little things like stocking stuffers or toys that you go and get at Walgreens or Walmart or something, just so these kids have something to open on Christmas morning. That the families might not be able to provide. And so, like I mentioned, there's an Amazon wish list. And then if that's not really your thing and you'd rather go and choose the toys yourself, that's awesome. You can do that and then bring the toys to our physical location, CFG, Coaching for Glory, and we'll take care of the rest and kind of get that to them. And then there is an in-person event on December 19th. That is a Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And that's a totally free event you can go to, and they'll have a Santa Claus there, and kids can sit with Santa Claus. Hopefully he's wearing his mask, and then you can't do that when you're drinking, you almost spit your drink out. They'll have like storybook readings, and then just like fun things for families to do. So it's just a little basically a toy drive we're doing through next Saturday, which is the 5th, and then they have their live event on 2 weeks later on the 19th.
Does his beard count as a mask?
I think if he holds it up over small.
Okay, cool. We have one more pseudo announcement. It's more of like a teaser we'll put out more details over the next episode that we do. But Coach Steph, who runs the nutrition program, is doing a 6-week consistency challenge. I'm really intrigued by this.
Yeah.
She did give me a few details, but what you need to know is that what we're really striving for with this is to get people into the mindset that this is not something that's like a quick fix. It's to establish habits that are going to be sustainable for long term. This is going to be kicking off at the end of January, so we're literally like 2 months ahead of time announcing this. But she will be, and we will be releasing more details, but I did want to make sure that I plug that as early as possible. So stay tuned for more deets from that.
Yeah.
All right, let's circle back to Thanksgiving, Mark.
We're killing it, man. This
5 minutes in.
Bam! This is going to be a 26-minute long podcast.
Yeah. So, real quick, all right, aside. Mandy, yesterday we were at the park playing with the kids, and I told her I was going to be up here at the gym. She's like, "You're not doing that podcast thing again, are you?" I'm like, "Yes, every Wednesday we do the podcast." She's like, "Are you going to talk forever?" Yes. What do you care? You don't even listen to it.
Right.
So, although I have heard her, she'll listen for like 30 or 45 seconds. She's like, "You guys take so long to get into it. You're just, chit-chat." And I was like, "Well, that's the goods at the beginning." She's like, "So why don't you just stop it after that then?" It's like, because then we're not answering the listener questions.
Yeah. It's funny that she's like, "Man, it took, I listened for 30 or 45 seconds and you guys weren't getting into it." It's like, we do that for like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Granted, she does listen maybe for like 10 minutes, but then she's like, "All right, you guys are not even talking about anything the first 20 minutes yet, so I gotta go."
Does she know we have chapter markers?
I don't know, Mark. I just found out yesterday, I'm calling these two out. Abigail and Jeff Aubin didn't know that not only are we broadcasting this to our Facebook group live, but it is also, hence the microphones, recorded and put out onto all podcast mediums.
Which is funny because
SoundCloud, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
So
which is
you don't have to watch us after the fact. Actually, the audio is going to be way better if you just open up the podcast app and go from there.
Yeah, and you get the cool intro and outro music.
Abigail timed me how long it took to find it and start playing the episode. 12 seconds.
Really?
12 seconds.
12 seconds.
Take 12 and so I'm just negating all these excuses for people, that they have. "Oh, yeah, I don't have time." Yeah, you do. I know. You complain about driving your car all the time. This is entertainment. Now, if your excuse or reason for not listening is because you don't like us, that's fine. That's valid.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Just tell me.
Unless
don't
I
try
like
to
you.
give me some other excuse.
If I like you and you don't like me, that would upset me. We had that talk earlier.
Yeah, I don't care.
Which is funny. Last note on this, because we do have to move on, is we have this podcast for over 4 years now. It was like October or November.
No, it actually just popped up into my Facebook feed this week that we debuted it.
4 years.
4 years.
For those 4 years, we have been doing SoundCloud and iTunes the whole time. Buzzsprout's a little new, but we have been doing SoundCloud and iTunes.
This is the newest iteration. That's only since when I got back on a couple months ago.
Yeah, and every episode we would post about it in the members page with both links. So how are they going to say they don't know?
They're not taking the time to dig.
Sorry,
I didn't mean to get you fired up.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I hope they're laughing as hard as I am.
So,
it's pretty funny.
Thanksgiving's tomorrow. I thought it would be cool to talk about some things that we're thankful for. Maybe we should start with that. Mark, what are you most grateful for?
Oh, man, because, you know what, there's a lot of things. I don't know. I don't want to be like put in the doghouse or anything. So, I don't know. I'm grateful for my health, overall health, like physical and mental health.
Yeah.
I'm grateful that I overall just like live a lifestyle that fosters good physical and mental health in me.
Yes.
I'm very happy with life in general. I'm pretty thankful for that because I know a lot of people aren't, and I think that's an awful position to be in. Albeit you can definitely be helped, but this isn't meant to advocate for therapy or anything. But I think I'm very grateful that I'm in a good position physically and mentally.
Awesome.
Yeah. What about you? What are you grateful for?
First, I always say I'm thankful for my salvation. So for the sacrifice that Jesus made on the cross. Most thankful for that. Following that, my family. So my wife, my kids, my mom, my dad, grandma, grandpa, like everybody. I'm thankful for you and the staff here at CFG. Thankful for all the wonderful people that we get the opportunity and the blessing to really have a positive, lifelong impact on their well-being, like you talked about. Yeah, and I'm super thankful for this weather because it is glorious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know we could name multiple. Now I look like a jerk. I'm just talking about me.
Yeah. So I think that's it.
That's good. It's important, and we've covered this before. It's important to recognize and say out loud or put in writing what you're grateful for regularly. Practice gratitude.
Yeah, it is, and not to beat this horse again and again, this poor horse, but it's not being joyful that leads you to gratitude. It is gratitude that leads you to a life of joy. So before the podcast, I don't want to get my heart rate up, but you were telling me about a story about this grumpy old guy who came to the gym and cursed at you because of a parking situation. You could choose so many better ways to approach this situation or to approach life, and those interactions with those types of folks are really the ones that are like make me scratch my head a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, what? And again, there's this lens that we have to be conscious of, that you're viewing things from your perspective and the way that you view the world. But it's like, man, like, let's have a little gratitude and maybe put a smile on and approach people a different way and maybe get the reaction that you're actually looking for.
Right. And in turn, that will make you happier.
Right.
It's just like this never-ending cycle.
Yeah. I find something I'm thankful for. It puts a smile on my face. Got a smile on my face. I find more things I'm thankful for. Like it's this.
People are nicer.
Just this positive feedback loop.
You get what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't realize that if you change the way you ask for things, you're probably meaning from a very negative to a not even like a positive, but a less negative way.
Right.
Chances are going to increase that you're going to get what you want. Like the parking situation. It's like if you ask in this extremely rude way versus maybe you're just like, hey man, like you mentioned, this and that, do you mind doing that? Sure. Sorry, no problem about it.
Mm-hmm.
So you were going to say something.
No, I think that's enough.
Yeah.
I think we hit on that. I want to get to the next piece. Keep us on track here, Mark.
Yes.
I want to talk about that. I love Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
awesome.
Next to Christmas, because of the deeper meaning of Christmas, or the true, real meaning, I guess I should say, of the Christmas holiday. Thanksgiving is like right there. Just absolutely love it. I love the togetherness. I love the traditions. I love
donning your pilgrim outfit.
Yes, my pilgrim and Indian outfit. No, let's not go down that road. I don't even know what's appropriate these days. But anyways, maybe we should delete this. I absolutely love everything there is about Thanksgiving. The food, but I'm wondering, what are some of your favorite foods? Do you have like a Thanksgiving ritual? And then are there foods that, and I know Pam maybe listens to this, so you might have to be calculated.
I think more than me.
But are there, yeah, I'm sure everyone does. But are there ones that seem to always sneak their way onto the table that you wish would never make their way onto the table?
So
yeah, favorite foods, rituals that you have, and maybe foods that you wish would have never even been thought about.
Yeah, so when people ask me, do you want the good news or the bad news first, I always say the bad news, and we'll leave the good news.
Yes.
So we'll start with the foods that should never be included. I can't say I have one that I absolutely hate. It's like, hey, don't make that, because I just won't put it on my plate.
Right.
But I'll eat this, but I'm not really crazy about cranberry stuff. And I know that's like a staple at Thanksgiving, but
What kind of cranberry sauce are we talking? Is it like the homemade, like good stuff, or is it out of the can where it's still got the ridges on it?
So that's the
one that you have to have, I think.
Where you like hold the can upside down and
it
takes
just
a minute
flops out.
Slide out of it. So I'm gonna be
throw it on
honest.
its side and it looks fancy on a plate. The ridge lines are actually the cut lines for serving sizes.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I haven't had it enough to distinguish what tastes like what. Like it's not something I go for.
Yeah.
I will eat it, and I'll have like cranberry bread. I think is pretty good, but would I ever choose cranberry bread over like banana bread or pumpkin pie? Absolutely not.
No.
Never. It's too dry.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I've never had this cranberry bread, and I would never
Really?
want it. Yeah.
No, it's just like banana bread but with cranberries.
No, don't mess up a good thing.
Yeah, right. So I would probably cranberry stuff I could go without.
Okay.
I'll eat it tomorrow, but I'm not gonna.
Okay.
It's not my favorite food.
My dad's allergic.
To cranberry stuff?
Yeah.
He's
cranberries.
allergic.
Yeah. So it's been this running joke for however long I can remember. Like we try to slide cranberries into something that he's eaten because he's always said like I can't eat it. I had an allergic reaction like 40 years ago or whatever. No one's ever seen this. No one's ever. So we're always curious. Like, is his throat gonna close up? Like, let's try. You know what I mean? Like, Dad. I'm sure my dad's not listening, but if he was, he'd probably be laughing. But yeah, so it's. I actually like it. The way that you eat it is you put it on the plate, and it just kind of falls into bites of other things. So you got your mashed potatoes and gravy and your turkey, and you get a little cranberry sauce, or maybe you've got one of those soft dinner rolls. When you're sopping up your mashed potatoes and gravy, get a little cranberry sauce on that. Or if you're a traditionalist,
that's what the gravy's for.
Or if you're a traditionalist, you get a soft dinner roll, you open it up, you slap some cranberry right in, cranberry sandwich right there, bam. That's how you.
I'm gonna be sick, dude. No way.
So that's the staple. I love that too. My mom's laughing. She found that funny.
All right. So what should never be included for you?
All right. There's one exception to this rule. Okay. And how many minutes are we in? So I can make sure that Mandy's not listening this far in. Okay.
18 minutes.
So there's two exceptions, but other than these two exceptions, any casseroles. Casseroles, no. Go bye-bye. With two exceptions.
Green bean?
Mark.
You're nuts! You're crazy!
So gross. Okay, the two exceptions. Sweet potato casserole, which that can't even be considered a casserole. That's just sweet potatoes with butter and sugar and cinnamon and marshmallows and some other secret ingredients that I can't reveal because I make a very good one. So there's that.
You?
And yes, I do, Mark. Why are you so surprised?
I didn't know you could.
Few dishes I'm really good at cooking. Two of them actually, as a complete aside, he's out here, so I'll say a little bit more quietly, but years ago Jay gave me his homemade recipe for guacamole and then salsa, and I kill it, and I just pass it off as my own.
Wow.
And it's amazing. So I make those as well.
Guac and salsa or guacamole salsa?
No, separate.
Okay.
Separate. You don't mix those.
Yeah,
Those are separate dishes. Okay, so sweet potato casserole, which really, to me, is not a casserole, but Mandy makes an incredible squash casserole. I love that stuff. I mean, it's vegetables.
Yeah.
With a lot of cheese and some Ritz crackers on top and sour cream.
Oh,
it's delicious.
That sounds southern.
Yeah. But other than that, I'm trying to think if there's any other foods that I don't really like. Okay, and here's the other thing. Steph may get on to me, but I don't want your healthy option.
You know,
I don't want that. Like,
yeah.
I want to feel disgusting and gorged, like I'm gonna pass out.
Yeah.
Because of the insulin spike that hit my body after my third serving of everything. I just, there's something to be, and all jokes aside, there's something to be said about the rituals, the traditions around food, the gatherings around the table, and it's why I love Friendsgiving so much. It's like nothing about what we had there, save for one or two people who brought the healthy version of something. You know, nothing about that would be deemed like your healthiest option food. But I don't care. I want to be You ever seen Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory, and the girl that eats the blueberry and she blows up and the Oompa Loompas have to roll her? That's what I want after my third serving. I want to fall out of my chair and have my kids roll me to the couch. I get my early afternoon nap.
Yeah.
I wake up and I watch some crappy NFL football while I get my fourth serving of everything.
I'm so glad you know how to do it right.
Yes.
So do you guys eat, what time do you guys eat? Your first meal?
It's always an awkward time, right? Because at least all the Thanksgivings that I've done, it's never like lunchtime is noon, dinner time is like 6, breakfast is depending on when you get up, like let's just say 7, 12, and 5.
Okay.
But it's always like 3.
Yeah.
So I have to starve myself for another 3 additional hours. Is somebody
Right.
sneaking in here?
I hope not.
Okay. So I have to starve myself for like an additional 3 hours, which doesn't go over well,
Yeah.
right?
Do you keep your mind busy when you starve, or you just?
No, I graze. My dad and I, if like when we're doing Thanksgiving with my family, like this year we're going to my mom and dad's, or if they don't know now, they do. Mom, I'm coming over. But no, we just graze. Like the turkey comes out, you have to always sample the turkey. Sample the turkey to make sure it's good.
Yeah.
So I've already had a plate by the time the actual first serving comes out. You got to sample the mashed potatoes, double dip the chip,
Right.
all these things. So I don't even know what the question was. I think it was around mealtime, but we'll probably eat like early afternoon.
Okay, good. So I agree with you. I also want to feel gross and disgusting and plump.
Like that's not the goal, but I know that if I get there, the process has been fulfilled.
Another Charlie and the Chocolate Factory reference. This one's probably a little bit more forced, but Augustus Gloop, like he could not stop shoving food in his mouth. That's Thanksgiving.
You're in the chocolate river, just scooping it in there.
Yeah, Augustus Gloop.
Okay, so those are the things that we're not, that we really don't like.
Yeah.
Okay?
Favorite food?
Everything else. Like turkey, mashed potatoes and gravy,
Yes.
a little lumpy. I don't like the really smooth, no. Because then that harkens back to the bagged mashed potatoes, the flakes that you make when you have like 35 seconds and you want some starchy mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
I mean, you want some lumps. You want some substance in your mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
You want the sweet potatoes with as much marshmallow on top as you can get. Little
Your
pecans
marshmallow
on top.
guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's part of the. That's not the secret. There's some stuff I'm not revealing in my sweet potato recipe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm more of a pecans.
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 Otherwise, Mandy will cut you.
I'm more of a pecan with the brown sugar that's baked into like the pecans, like the caramelized.
Yes.
Pecan. I
So-
can go without the marshmallows as well.
That you got your squash casserole to go with that. You got
Okay.
your rolls, your cranberry sauce, pecan pie, pumpkin pie, apple pie.
Cool.
All right, Cool Whip or Ready Whip? Cool
Ready.
Whip's from the tub. Ready
Yeah.
Whip is the can.
Yeah, ready whip.
Garbage. Nope. Terrible. No, Cool Whip, way better taste.
And then you just get a little buzz from the aerosol too.
What is it called? Whippets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
I don't know how else. I know that.
I
Yeah, so everything. Like, I will eat everything. And then, of course, stuffing, dressing, depending on where you're from and where it comes from. So if it's in the bird and you bring it out, that's stuffing. But if it's like Mandy makes a pan of it that doesn't go in the bird, that's dressing. And then gravy on everything.
Yeah.
Everything, except the pies.
Drown it.
Yes.
Drown it. You ever seen Spider-Man 2 at the end where Dr. Octopus was like, drown it?
No. But I just thought about this. Why do we not have plates for Thanksgiving with more depth in them? Because right now, if I fill my plate and I top it with all the gravy, it's spilling over.
Yeah.
And I don't want a bowl. I don't want a bowl, but I want something that's gonna hold the gravy, let everything soak in it.
Yeah, give me something that's like half an inch deep. Because plate, I don't know what the cutoff is between plate and bowl, but like even an inch, like that's practically a bowl. Or if it was wide enough, it might be a pan, right?
So almost like a skillet.
Yeah, right? You need something like that. So something that's like half an inch deep, Because they make all these wide plates, and they're like as wide as our MacBooks, but then how do you carry it? Because then you got your drink in one hand, and you have to carry the plate like this or on the edge, and then all of a sudden the gravy's making the plate moist, and the plate starts to bend, and you drop it, and you embarrass yourself.
What kind of plates are you using? Paper plates?
Oh, yeah.
Ham doesn't break out the good china for Thanksgiving?
No, paper plates with turkeys on them. They're cute.
No. Nope. I want real plates.
Also, it's less cleanup. Way less cleanup.
Nope.
So
one final thing I didn't cover is ham.
Oh.
Ham is not a must-have, but it is a bonus meat
All
for sure.
Let's do this real quick. Real quick. So Emily sent me this yesterday, and it was on the CFG Instagram. You probably saw. I don't know if you partook in this, but it was.
Oh, the poll.
The this or that.
Yeah.
And we'll just do this quick rapid fire. Josh, turkey or ham?
Turkey.
Pumpkin pie, pecan pie.
Pecan pie.
Said it wrong. Cooking crew or cleanup crew? What would you rather be on?
Cook.
Would you rather be the host or the guest?
Host.
Would you rather stay home or travel?
Doesn't matter.
Leftovers, or leftovers, ugh.
Oh, love them. Love them.
Ooh, this is a good one. Gravy or cranberry sauce?
Gravy.
Yeah.
I will sacrifice the cranberry sauce.
Yeah, that was. I love when she puts those this or that's on our social media.
It's awesome. Those are good. Okay.
My favorite food:
Yes,
stuffing, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, gravy on top, all one bite.
Okay. No meat. No protein.
Like I like it, not my favorite.
Yeah. Okay.
White or dark meat?
White meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, white meat.
Because usually the argument is like, well, dark meat is more moisture, right? Juiciness. That's why you have gravy. Clogs the arteries. Let's just get the show on the road.
Yeah, I like turkey. I like meat ham on Christmas, so I think ham belongs on Christmas.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's just what I believe. And so
Ham on Christmas.
Ham on Christmas.
That's fine. I can roll with that. Yeah.
What do you have on Christmas?
Yeah, ham.
Okay.
Yeah. Mandy and I were talking about this last night. We've got a lot of friends that have. Now I hesitate to say like these strange non-traditions, but it's like some people do like Chinese food on Christmas, Mexican food on Christmas. No.
I would do Chinese food on Christmas. I would do Mexican food. I do it on Cinco de Mayo.
Well, makes sense.
Chinese food on Christmas. That's interesting.
Yeah. All right. So if you guys have, you would like to contribute, I would love to know what are some must-haves and what are some not ever wants again.
Yeah. What is your favorite traditions? What do you guys do?
Yeah.
All
All right. Listener questions.
Ooh, jinx. You
Jinx.
don't make up
What do you think is the best thing to do after you have completely stuffed yourself with food?
It says the day after, so we can go the day of and the day after. Day of, man, it's like if you've already done it, yeah.
I'm gonna nap.
You're not.
I'm getting at least 2 naps.
Yeah.
I think.
I think if we told people you need to exercise like 90%, 99% wouldn't do it, and then you just feel defeated for not doing it. So day of.
And granted, now this is in the context of like you go ham on Thanksgiving. See that one?
Yeah.
So you go hard on Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're stuffing yourself all the time with food, we got some other issues.
Yeah.
But in the context of this conversation, what's the best thing to do the day after you have completely stuffed yourself with food? I mean, if you feel like you need to get out and do something, just go for a walk. Spend some time with family, talk about traditions.
Bike ride.
Bike ride, get some sunshine, get some water. Stay close to the commode, all those things.
I know actually on Thanksgiving, and I used to do this with my buddies when we would all be in town for Thanksgiving, but day of or day after is play football. Like if you want to go and do something like that.
We used to do that when I was in high school and college, yeah.
Yeah, so like if you want to do something that isn't, I mean, it is still exercise, but if you want to get some movement in and just some sport, and then of course like the camaraderie and like the fun of doing it with friends or family, like you could, play some sports. Even if you don't play football, like go and play football and you're going to find out how fun it is.
So I stopped doing that because I realized what I would rather do is go eat some more, like seconds.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, I just thought about this. Another thing that we like to do is like, me, you're the same way as like movie buffs. So I'm probably gonna watch a movie like that night, and then the next day we'll watch something else. Like so that's the lead-in to the Christmas traditions.
I was going to say, is it going to be a Christmas movie?
Yeah, so like actually tonight we're gonna have I think it's tonight. I think we're gonna do a movie night with the kids. So it's like just the four of us. We pull the mattresses down in the living room and we watch a movie. It'd be just like the theater.
Cool.
But Christmas Chronicles 2 debuts tonight on the Flips, so we'll be watching that.
Nice.
Yeah, so it'll kind of like segue right in to all these amazing traditions. So yeah, I don't know if that is the approved advice of the nutrition coach. Hopefully she's not listening live and
Gosh, I hope she's
scold
not.
us.
Yeah,
But yeah.
she would destroy what we said about stuffing ourselves.
Yes. Okay. Advice for people who seem to always gain 10 pounds during the holidays and then want to lose 10 pounds when the clock strikes 12 on January 1. So like the New Year's resolutioners.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for those people?
Man, I wish Stephanie was on the show.
Yeah.
This is when I wish she was watching live now.
Yes.
Right? Because she'd be able to give us some good stuff in the comments or even say something on the mic. But advice for people who seem to gain weight during the holidays is, it sounds like you need to work on your habits.
Yeah.
Because if it's falling apart during the holidays, the other 9-10 months of the year is just, we haven't quite dialed it in yet.
Right.
Because proper habits you'd be able to maintain, right? And you'd be able to, even if you fell out of rhythm a little bit, now I don't want to say this and then somebody gain 10 pounds and then feel like they're totally failing, but 10 pounds is pretty significant. I think the average person weighs 150.
Yeah.
Right? So
gaining 10 pounds.
That's pretty
a lot.
So something is probably out of whack. So advice, honestly, is if you're in an environment like we're in, you have a lot of resources to use to help you with those habits. So there are coaches here. There are fitness coaches that can help you. We have a nutrition coach that can help you. We have, as we mentioned earlier, a consistency challenge that's coming up. And normally if you are in an environment like this, then, because I imagine that's who all of our viewers are, approach a coach, nice rhyme, approach a coach, sit down with them and say what can I work on? And it's not what can I work on to lose these 10 pounds, it's what can I work on to not gain these 10 pounds next year.
Right.
And I think that's more important, and that's going to benefit you more, because I think it's also important to realize that that kind of stuff, it's the holidays, right? We're not telling you to, and if you heard the last 30 minutes, we're not telling you to not eat super dirty, right? Still go and have fun, but you don't have to go overboard. And so that kind of thing is going to happen, but we also have to recognize that you have goals and you want to be healthy and you don't want to do this every year because it's also not good for mental health, and that's first and foremost extremely important. So that's my advice, is kind of talk to a coach, and it's funny, it always seems to be that we say that, but I guess more practical advice is recognize that these things happen and we need to find a deeper meaning and why they happen and change that.
Yeah, I was searching for a post actually while you were talking. I was trying to look for it, but every year it comes up, somebody shares it. It's it talks about, this is a thing that people mention every year, is oh my gosh, the holidays are here, it's crazy, I've got all these parties and all this stuff to go to. It always comes out on November 22nd. I can't find it. I'm sure somebody will. But it breaks down, okay, there's X amount of days. I think it's there's 40-something days until January 1st. You've got Thanksgiving, Christmas. You allow for some parties. You allow for this, allow for that. And really, when you actually break it down into how many, I hate to use this term, but it paints a very clear picture in people's mind, how many bad meals you can really plan into your schedule for the rest of the year. And if you're on track, the whole 80-20 rule, if you're still doing well 80% of the time and you plan for these things, these particular meals to be your 20%, you're not going to gain that, And not to mention, you have to think about the long-term, I don't want to say ramifications or consequences, but really, do you want to be playing that yo-yo game?
Right.
Where it's like, oh, the holidays. It's like, stop giving yourself that same excuse.
Yeah.
Like every time. Because if you were really serious about not having that happen every year, you would actually make the change.
Yeah.
So don't complain. Either change or keep it quiet. And the reality is nothing changes if nothing changes. So if the holidays roll around again and you're still going to the same parties, eating the same thing, drinking the same things, then don't be surprised when January rolls around and it's like, oh my gosh, I picked up 10 pounds. First of all, don't say, oh, I don't know how that happened. Yes, you do. Look in the mirror. You know how it happened. Or you have to be okay with the holidays are here. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it. I know that I'm going to be eating a way that I don't eat for the other 10 and a half months of the year. And on January 1st, and you know this about yourself, that you have the discipline to get back on track, then be okay with that. Because I think that there is a lot more to health than just saying, oh, I can't gain this weight, or I can't do these things. Like I was saying, like going back to, the traditions that we have around food and gathering and holidays, like, we kind of joke and laugh about the way that I'm going to end up feeling after my Thanksgiving meal. But that's one meal out of a whole year's worth of meals where that's going to be my attitude. And so I don't want people to take that as like, oh, well, look at him. He's the owner and he should be a model of health and fitness. And yeah, but again, there's more to it than that. And that's also not what it looks like for the other, what's 365 times 3, right? Minus 1. All my other meals don't look like that.
Right.
So you have to keep that in mind. And so sit down with yourself, maybe today, this holiday season, and say, what's my intention? Like, what do I want out of this? Like, what are my goals? And if what you would typically do in a holiday season is not going to get you closer, either A, you have to be okay and accept that and not beat yourself up about it January 1, or B, make a plan with your coach to not have that happen again. Those are the only two options. Well, there is a third option where it's like, oh, I'm just going to do whatever, and then you're going to whine and complain about it come January 1st. But I'm saying don't do that. Yeah. You're either okay with it because you sat down, you took the time to reflect and have some awareness, or you sat down with your coach and made up a plan so that you don't do that. And maybe you enter January 1 far closer to your goal than you've ever been on a prior January 1.
Yeah, that's a good point. If we take that 80-20 rule, I wasn't texting behind here, I was doing some calculations. But if we take that 80-20 rule, and I even think that 80-20 rule is pretty extreme. I think for most people it's going to be like 85-15 or even like 90-10.
Yep.
But if we take this really extreme 80-20 rule, and we'll just take it from November 1 to January 1, so that's 2 months, and we'll just call that 8 weeks. That is 168 meals if you eat 3 times a day. So 3 times 7 times 8, right? So 168 meals. If you do 80-20, and it's really just a matter of flipping the script. If I tell you, okay, Josh, we're sitting down on October 31st, from tomorrow, November 1st till January 1st, out of the 168 meals you eat, I hate to tell you this, 33 of them are going to be bad meals. You're like, man, that's a lot of bad meals.
That's a lot.
Yeah. But when you flip the script, right, 168 I said, minus 33, that's 135 of them are good.
Yeah.
Clean eating. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure 135 is more than 33.
Yeah.
So.
And not only that, go back, what was it, 33 or whatever, quote unquote, bad meals.
Yeah.
Right? So what I would do, I would take it a step further and say, okay, I'm cool with that. Okay, tell me when are you going to eat those? I can't name 33 times within those 2 months.
Yeah.
How many parties are you going to?
Right.
Why am I not getting invited to these parties? I actually don't want to. But you know what I'm saying? Holy cow, you can name off that many meals that you're planning to just go crazy on? There are some other things that, it's not only the nutrition at that
Right.
point.
Yep,
Right.
it's the entire habit formation behind what you're doing. So that's our advice. So if you could kind of give it a tagline, I said approach a coach. What would you say? Like, what would your advice be for the people that gain the 10 pounds? It says always seem to gain 10 pounds.
Yeah. Reflect on what your goals really are. Decide on what you're willing to do and what you're willing to accept as a barrier. If the holidays is a barrier, you have to say, am I willing to accept that or not? Yeah. But yeah, it starts with meeting with your coach. And the reason, I think it's important to always repeat this. The reason that we say that is because that's, not only is that who we are in the service that we provide, but it's what we believe in. Like, we can stand here and we can make this podcast 15 minutes and just give these generalized answers. Oh, don't overeat and choose healthy meat. Like, yeah, but that's okay. But I want to provide the best possible solution to each person. And the way that you do that is in the context of one-to-one.
Yeah. It goes back, I just had this thought cross my mind to, we did an entire podcast, and really a podcast and a half on autonomy. And so it's not like, I think people can get it mixed up, like, man, they're always saying go talk to a coach. Like, why can't they just tell us what to do on the podcast and we start doing that? It's like, well, like you said, one is who we are, like we want to help. And if you listen to the autonomy podcast, you learn that, like, we don't want to coach you forever. Like, we want to coach you to build the proper habits so where you can do this on your own. Like, we want to build healthier, better people that can do this on their own and hopefully educate others, right? Yeah. But like, that's what a coach is. Like, behind, instead of somebody that's like, all right, that was enough information for today. Like, come back next week and I'll give you the secret tip that I didn't give you. Right. Like I think a lot of online programs can do.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So, we had some comments.
Yes, I like that. Look at all this. See all these two people that are interacting with us. 3, including Brandon Carver. I don't know if he's still listening. I bet he is.
So,
Mom and Steph.
Yeah, regarding
she
the
is
last
listening.
question, your mom said you have to be prepared, just like any time of year. Healthy snacks and meal prep goes a long way.
Still on. Stand by. You keep talking. I'm just making sure my phone's still on.
Stephanie said,
just good.
Detail what she's gonna do. She's on Thanksgiving. She says she's gonna eat her regular breakfast and a protein shake. That way she's not starving for dinner or dinner. It's kind of like the in between. Like,
yes.
It's like the brunch. But Leonard, and feels zero guilt about enjoying Thanksgiving. There are 3 desserts that are going to be offered, and she's trying them all. And that's our nutrition coach.
Trying them all or finishing them all? I bet she's going to try. Tim will finish. I can count on Tim.
She said exactly, Josh, it's 1 to 2 meals or 1 to 2 days of eating.
So real quick, I do want to go back to what she said there. She's going to do like her regular breakfast, protein shake. That way she's not starved for dinner. So this is an interesting thing. So for me, I'm probably going to do the opposite, right? So I'm probably not going to have anything up until that point because I know the calorie consumption that I'm going to do damage on. I don't need to also layer breakfast on top of that.
Right.
So I think that's a really healthy way to keep it balanced. So you have your breakfast, you have your protein shake, like she's just being consistent with what she would normally do, and I think that's great. Yeah. And then because of that, she goes into the meal knowing, well, I already have this. 2 things are going to happen. 1, consciously, she's having that conversation, like, well, I already have this, so I'm going to have my normal amount of food. Subconsciously, her brain is already telling her, oh, you don't have to eat 6 plates like Josh is going to because you're full, you've been doing your regular thing. And so from a consistency, maintaining habits perspective, I think that's spot on.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then lastly, what did your mom say?
She said it's good to keep in mind if you go all out one night, you can reset the next day and get back on track. Don't self-sabotage. Yeah. A great analogy that I heard about that is, let's say that you go to bed one night and you forgot to brush your teeth. What do you do the next morning when you get up?
Not brush my teeth.
Right. Just don't ever brush them again.
No,
you get back on the train. You start brushing your teeth again.
Get that stink out of your mouth. Do some mouthwash too and some flossing while you're at it.
Everything. Just go crazy.
You're going to get gingivitis.
All right. We're doing good. We've got 2.5 questions.
And we've got about 20 minutes left, so that's perfect.
What's the best way to stay on track with a fitness routine even though typical day-to-day routines are altered during the holidays? And then kind of a sub-question related, what are some ideas to stay active if your gym or a gym is not available? We learned a lot about that during the closure through COVID.
Yeah.
So how do you stay on track when your schedule is different, the kids are out of school, maybe your spouse, significant other is getting more free time, maybe they're taking some vacation, you don't have to wake up with an alarm. Like, how do you stay on track with the fitness routine when your regular day-to-day schedule is altered?
Yeah, so this is a good question. I think you could take a lot of what we said on the last question about nutrition and just plug it into this one about like habit formation. The chances are, if you're asking this question or if you're listening to this podcast, really, you've decided to make health and wellness a priority in your life. And so you're probably going to be able to find the time in your day to get some sort of workout in. So I would say the best way to stay on track is, hey, it's might take a little bit of effort, but carve out some time, even if it's 30 minutes, to get it in, right? Get that fitness in. If it's, hey, if you have younger kids, if you're putting them down for a nap, or hey, spouse, can you please watch the kids for half an hour? I'm going to go on a jog or a bike ride, or go do this 10-minute workout out in the garage or something like that. I think that can help a lot, but just being able to find a time of day where you can carve the time out. Even though typical day-to-day routines are altered during the holidays. I actually want to shout out Melissa Wright because I texted her earlier this week, and she's been doing remote since March.
Since March, yeah. And she is killing it.
Yeah, she's still.
She got a brand new Plyo box.
Yeah, she sent me a picture. It was awesome. But I said, hey, just checking in, like, how you doing this week? Thanksgiving this week. I know, things are really busy. I see her business page on Instagram, like, she's really busy with work, and she texted back. And it was evening time. It was like 4 or 5 o'clock. She texted back saying, like, hey, like, yeah, I'm just getting really busy. I'm actually getting changed and putting my shoes on right now to go out in the garage and work out.
Wow.
And it's the evening, like, after she worked. And she, if you know Melissa, she is like 9 a.m. lady at heart, right? She is always working out at 9 a.m. with the other 9 a.m. ladies. So you're probably going to make the time to fit that into your schedule. What are some ideas to stay active if a gym isn't available? If you really want to do this functional fitness stuff that we normally do, reach out. You guys are going to hate us. Reach out to a coach. We'll set you up with something. If you really, really want to do something and you have the proper equipment, or even not at home. But if it isn't available just because, say, it's closed for 2 days, like we're going to be, like, use the time to get some more, like, active recovery work in. We talked about all this in the first question, so I won't repeat myself.
I think there's 2 things that I would say to answer this. One is planning ahead can really set you up for so much success. So the people that we have that come here to the gym regularly, they're regulars, they've got their routine established. The 9 a.m. crew comes to 9 a.m. 5:30 they come to 5:30. Like, everyone has got like their routine, and it's embedded in them. So when your normal routine gets altered, sometimes it can throw you out of whack. And we were actually talking about this earlier this morning, I think, where it's just as easy, if not easier, to fall into a new habit of not coming when your current routine is interrupted. So all of a sudden, instead of the routine being I come at 5:30, the new routine is I just sleep in and I don't go because I didn't go at my normal time.
Yeah.
So planning ahead, what I would recommend doing is on Sunday, look at your schedule ahead of time, because I know how all the families in here operate. You plan stuff out. Oh, we're going to do this with the kids. We're going to do that with the kids. This with the spouse. That with our friends. And plan out, okay, what are the 3 days that I know I can get an hour? There's 168 hours in the week. You can get it 3 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, whatever your normal is. Just plan ahead. I think that can set you up for a world of success. Now, the alternative, if you maybe are not that planning type, but you are disciplined enough in your day-to-day schedule to say, nope, I'm getting some fitness in at some point today, then I think the holidays especially are a really good opportunity to do different things. So instead of it being an hour session, this is going to sound crazy, but maybe it's a 30-minute session. Like you set the clock, you move for 30 minutes. I don't even care what kind of movement it is, but you just move for 30 minutes. And then when you're done, you're done. You know, pick up a sandbag, step up on your curb. This is a really crazy one, and it really relates to the sub-question, what's some ideas to stay active if your gym isn't available, is leave your phone at home and go for a walk with your family, or yourself, or your dog. No technology for an hour. Like 1 hour, just go 30 minutes out, 30 minutes back. Or if you have a loop in your neighborhood, just go for a walk with an hour. Just be out. There's so many benefits that I won't even go to, but the biggest one to me is you just get some space to allow your brain to relax and think through some things.
Yeah.
Usually people are like, oh, I go for my walk or my bike ride, and I fall into this, I'm listening to my audiobook or my podcast, or I'm making calls. Shut that off. Your brain is going all the time. We have an infinite amount of things that we all have to get accomplished. But take some time to just like be with yourself. That is A-okay, because the long range benefits are huge. So either plan ahead or plan to just do different things and be okay with it. Again, it could be workout duration, it could be movements. You go to a dance class, go to a yoga studio, like just do some things outside the box, no pun intended.
Oh,
you know?
Nice. Cool. So that was number 3. We'll move on to number 4. This is our final listener question. It is, what is the most important aspect of recovery? So, a little background behind this question is Edgardo asked me this question, and Edgardo and Marlene just had their beautiful baby boy, Jonah. Jonah was born last, I think it was Thursday.
I think you're right, yes. Big congrats to those guys.
Yeah, congratulations. And Edgardo's been sending me pictures of Jonah, like with like his dumbbell rattle and like on the Romwad mat and all these cute pictures. I'm like, Ed, like, dude, every picture you send, your baby's sleeping. Like, all that baby does is sleep. And he's laughing. He's like, so really, like, what is the most important aspect of recovery? And naturally, I said, it's sleep. And I asked you, what do you think? Because we were talking about this yesterday, and you said, sleep. So
we could just leave it right there, but
yeah,
we're not going to.
No.
So the answer is sleep.
Yeah, it's sleep.
But let's talk more.
So sleep.
Like, what are some, when people traditionally think about, oh, I've got to work on my recovery. There's another rabbit hole that I won't go down, but if you feel like you need to do some serious recovery after all your workouts, there's probably something wrong with your workouts. But we'll table that for another day. So traditionally when people think about recovery methods, what comes to mind? What do you see? What do you hear from folks?
Mobility, so Romwad, stretching, active recovery, meaning some sort of movement, but in the sense of I'm going to hop on this assault bike or biker or skier or echo bike or rower and go for 20 minutes.
Okay. So very movement-based.
Movement-based recovery.
So for folks that might not know this, there's nothing wrong with any of those that he just listed. The real benefits to all that stuff is just good blood flow, lymph flow, getting the heart pumping, all that kind of stuff. That's really the underlying benefit to that.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got movement-based recovery.
Yes.
Okay, what are other options?
I know the hole we're going down because it's written on our board. You could stress management. You could work on your stress management.
Yes. So perhaps you take an hour walk with no technology and think through some things. Give yourself some space.
Right? Because then you're knocking out movement and stress management. That's like double recovery.
Look at that.
So just being able to just, like you said about in the last question, is, not necessarily so shutting your technology off, not shutting your brain down, but just allowing it to just kind of float and think.
Yep.
And just be, really. I know that's not, Mark is so philosophical, but just really just being can do wonders for your recovery. And honestly, the higher intensity, the more stress your body's going to be under, which means you're not going to recover as much.
So more intensity is not the answer. So
No.
I shouldn't just crush myself.
I would say a 60-minute brisk walk. I wouldn't say like lounging walk, like pimpling, but like a brisk walk, a 60-minute brisk walk would be better than 20 minutes on a bike at an assault bike at a brisk pace.
Yep. Okay. Cool. So we got some movement for blood flow, lymph. We've got some stress management
For general well-being.
Yep.
Nutrition.
Ooh.
Nutrition.
Yes, nourishment.
Nourishment.
Yes.
Proper nourishment. Because, we don't have to go super into this, but if you eat well, then your body feels good and it responds well. So why would it not work the same for recovery?
Correct.
So if you want to get into and we can do this another time because the amount of macronutrients you need to optimize recovery. Did you want to even touch on that today? No. I was gonna say that's a whole nother show.
No, but if you think about it, it's pretty intuitive. If I want this machine to operate as best as possible, it would make sense that I would want to put the best fuels into said machine.
Yep.
McDonald's, no matter how delicious those French fries are.
Yeah,
Are they the best French fries?
No.
Who's the best? Are you gonna say like Five Guys or Checkers or?
I've never been to Checkers.
Or waffle fries from Chick-fil-A?
Those are pretty good. They're good. So those are good for fast food fries, and this is where you kind of get to not quite apples and oranges, but maybe apples to pears. There are similarities between them. Fast food fries are the apples, and then you got restaurant fries, which are pears. I'm gonna say this on the podcast because I'm a savage. Totally. I'm not a fan of Beef O'Brady's, but their curly fries are pretty good.
Their curly fries are great. They've gone way downhill for a long time. We've had this conversation. We don't want to get derailed too much, but yeah. Anyways.
So eat well to recover.
Yeah, eat well to recover, not French fries.
And then finally,
sleep. Yes. So
that's the most important, I would say.
Yeah. So a couple things I think are worth highlighting a little bit more, and let me know if I'm going too long on this, Mark, because I know we're coming up on our time.
About 6 minutes.
Okay. So when you work out, you are breaking your body down. So by definition, you're putting more stress on the body. So that is actually anti-recovery.
Yes.
Okay? Now, if you go into something with the intention of it being recovery, well then the design has to match that. Because intention is one thing, but if it's I've got 21, 15-9 thruster and pull-up, you could have the intention of it being a recovery workout, but it's not going to be. Right? So there's that couple things. So just recognize that for the most part, when you're working out, it is anti-recovery. So there's that. I don't remember what book it was. I was hoping that I could find it, but I can't. But do you know what the limit is for how long you can go without eating?
Isn't it I always used to think it was 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's longer than you think. Yeah. So let's just say it's more than 10 days, right? You could go without any food stuff whatsoever.
Wow.
How about water?
It's 3 days, right?
Yeah, it's 3-4 days, right, before you need water. How about sleep?
I have no idea. I know it's shorter though, right?
Yeah, it's less than water. So right then and there, you know that what is most important, because you got to remember what the body's goal is. It's survive and reproduce. So at the most basic biological, physiological process, you have to sleep. You can hold out longer without water and food than you can without sleep. So Tina just said 21 days without food. She watches Naked and Afraid. There you go. So sleep is the most important, and sleep is actually the only time where your body is 100% of the time repairing and thus feeding into recovery. Because even in the eating process, there's all this breakdown and there is stress that goes on in the body, especially depending upon what you put in it. But sleep is 100% for recovery. And here's a final story that I'll close with. It's very personal, very near and dear to our heart. So, 2 years ago, we found out that Jesse has this weird genetic mutation. It's called hereditary spherocytosis, which basically means that he's not iron deficient anemic or anything. That's where people's heads always go when I talk about this. It has nothing to do with iron. That's fine. What it means, though, is that his red blood cells die quicker. They replicate much slower than the normal person's red blood cells. So when he gets sick, a viral infection or something like that, it impacts his body much more severely than the quote-unquote normal person. He and I actually had to have a discussion about this last night. He's asking some really deep questions, which I love. And it's always at bedtime when he wants to ask these. But anyways, so at the recommendation of Therese, actually, last year we got this little hemoglobin monitor for him. So we finger prick him, put it into this little thing, and it tells us what his hemoglobin number is. So for reference, most normal people that don't have this condition sit in a healthy range around like 12, 13, something right around there. For him, when we went into the hospital 2 years ago, his hemoglobin had dropped all the way, at least by the time they got him, we admitted him, got him hooked up and measured, he was at like a 5.
Wow.
So we don't know how low he actually went, because by the time they measured him, it had been some time. So he was actually in better shape than when he initially came in. So anyways, recently he came down, with fever, wasn't feeling real well, so we closely monitored him and we finger pricked him, and he was at like an 11, which is fine. We checked him again the next day, he dropped to like an 8.
Wow.
Which is like red flag, right?
Yeah.
Well, what we noticed over those next 2 days is we were putting him to bed at normal time, 8:30, and he was sleeping until almost 10 o'clock. Normally he's up at like 8. So getting significantly more sleep, and one of the early days he had napped during the day too.
Wow.
So significantly more sleep. So after that last cycle, yesterday we checked him again, and he was the highest we had ever seen him. He was almost at the 13.
Wow.
And really the only thing that was different was the sleep that he was getting.
Nutrition was fine.
Normal. Nutrition was normal. Didn't do anything different.
Wow.
Sleep. So that's the answer.
So sleep is the most important.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's it.
We did good today.
We did good.
Are at an hour and 4 minutes right now. So
cool.
Anything else you want to add?
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, man. I'm grateful for you.
Oh, thank you.
Boom.
All right, that's it, folks. Remember, this is also available anywhere, 3 places: SoundCloud, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts. So you don't have to watch us ramble.
And
you
YouTube.
can listen. Oh, and the tube. That's right.
And YouTube.
It's like 5 spaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no reason not to watch us. And we have chapter markers now, so you can just go to the parts you want to watch.
So no excuses to not listen to something.
Yeah.
Cool.
Episode 54. 54!
So we'll probably hit high 50s by the year end.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, folks, have a happy Thanksgiving. Thankful for all of you. And we'll see you next week.
5-star written review. Thank you. Bye.